Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about retirement funds like 401ks and IRAs, which allow you to buy mutual funds or even individual stocks, depending on which type of thing that you go. Now, a lot of the fund companies in your 401ks will probably have some of the funds from companies like Vanguard, Fidelity, BlackRock, T. Rowe Price, and American Funds. Basically, what a mutual fund is just a collection of stocks owned by a company that you buy shares in when you invest through a 401k or an IRA. And with an IRA, it's usually through a broker, maybe a local guy or a fund company, because some of the fund companies have their own brokerages too. And then there's stuff like Interactive Brokers, TD Ameritrade, and Charles Schwab, among others. But generally, once you decide to get an IRA going, you pick between what kind of funds you want to buy from. Well, in your 401k, you usually have about 25 to 30 funds or so, and a lot of them will have target date funds, which are just funds of funds, usually run through the mutual fund company it's from, whichever target date when it is. Those are pretty simple. You just kind of pick close to the year you think you'll be retiring and put money in it. And it's usually the default anymore. So you don't even hardly have to put much effort into a 401k to start. Now you can analyze mutual funds pretty easy by looking at their ticker, which is a symbol that allows you to enter into the internet and find a bunch of information. It used to be you would get like a prospectus book, maybe even an annual report from a broker that would show you the fund that he's suggesting that you start with if you're doing an IRA. A lot of the IRAs that are run by local, you know, advisors or brokers are generally they have a fund family that they deal in mostly, but you can buy anything through, a broker. Now there are different things like some of the funds have no loads and some have loads. Loads mean you have to pay a sales fee to the broker, and then some of the other ones have an annual fee. But if you're going with one that has you have to pay the load, make sure if it has any annual fee that it's very low. And the same goes the other way. If you go with a no load fund, make sure the annual fee isn't so high that it really strains your budget. But once you've researched all this stuff, and you need to research it so you can get a good idea of what you're buying into, because most mutual funds have at least 100 stocks or more, unless it's a very focused type fund where it only has a 10 or 20. Uh, the very focused funds can be more volatile than ones that are more uh, widely diversified. So, but if you've got a 401k, you probably already are investing in mutual funds because it's kind of what they do. Now, I don't want to go real long, but I will talk about a different strategy you can do once you get to a point. Let's say you bought a car 5 years ago, you paid it off. Well, once you pay that car off, if it's in good working order, you can drive it for a few more years. I do want to say hello to Passion Art and Coins. But you can drive that car for a few years and use the money you made for the payment every month, go to your broker or advisor and have them invest in them if you're doing an IRA, or you can increase your 401k, you know, contributions. But either way, that's a good time to do it because you're already used to spending that money on a car payment. If your car's in good working order and you like it, there's no real reason to rush right out and buy another new car right away because, you know, once you buy another new car, you got another payment, which is probably bigger than the one you had before. So you're probably better off if the car's in good shape, use that money and put it in a either your 401k or start an IRA, which is what I did years ago. Now, it was 2005. I just paid off this car I'd bought, and I had the whole payment where I had nothing obligated for that money to go to. So I talked to this broker guy at the bank, and we started a Roth IRA for me. And I kept, putting money into it for several years. Now, of course, 2009 happened, and that was the Great Recession. Then we took a while to get out of that. And then, of course, everyone knows the COVID uh, pandemic happened, and it's caused quite a bit of pain and suffering for lots of people. But I don't want to get into all that. Just know and think that any mutual fund that you choose to invest in, whether it be an active one or a index funds will probably be cheaper. They track a certain index, like in the Standard and Poor 500. That is one thing that they track. And there's other ones too. Vanguard has a total stock market index fund, which I think is global. But no matter what you end up picking, you know, you just put the money back, and over the years, it'll the investment will do whatever it does, and it'll pay out dividends along the way. Most of them do, and a lot of them pay out capital gains, and you reinvest that, and over the years, you build up a pretty substantial amount of money. Now, how it relates to me in stacking silver and stuff is that, I have, considerable number of silver coin and stuff, but it's, compared to my 401k, which I've had many years of investing on that, in my Roth IRA, which has been going for quite some time too. I don't believe my silver stack's worth anything near, you know, maybe 2 or 3%. That's my guess. I don't even know for sure because it's hard to keep track of how much more than a few dozen coins are worth. But I don't want to go too much longer. I just wanted to talk about mutual funds, and part of it's because Legacy Stacker was talking about how he paid his house off, and without the mortgage, it frees up a lot of money to either buy gold and silver or invest in stocks. Like I think he said something about investing in stocks, but whether you invest in individual stocks or you invest in mutual funds, it's kind of the same thing. Diversify. So if you buy individual stocks, research the companies quite well before you start investing. Because if you don't, you put a lot of money into something like, those regional banks that failed in the past year. If you put a lot of money into their stock, it's probably not going to be worth anything. So I kind of think that, by using mutual funds, you let the fund managers do the research that, most of it that you would have to do. You just kind of look at what they do and what they say they invest in. It'll all come in the prospectus. It'll tell you what their investment goals are right in the like one of the first things in it. Then it'll give you a brief overview about how they invest. Probably have a little letter to the shareholders at the front, and then it'll have like what the investments are and stuff. So And I'll go through other things like risk factors and all kinds of stuff that they have to put in those. And they always have that part where they say past performance does not mean, does not predict future performance. That something along them lines, because no matter what your investment is, your strategy, there's a good chance that no matter what you're doing in your 401k, if the market goes crazy like it did in 2009 and dropped as much as it did, and then went through a period of high volatility, it is a time where, what you have can go up and down a lot in one day. But you're not investing for one day, and as long as you're not selling or, your stuff, that loss that you took that during that time does not necessarily mean that you really lost all that money. You lost it on paper. By the time, if that happened, well, that was '09, that was 14, 15 years ago. A lot of those mutual funds and stuff have regained all the losses and then some. So I don't want to go too much longer, but I just wanted to do this video talking about mutual funds, IRAs, and 401ks, and brokerages and financial advisors. It's There's a lot to research when you invest in that, so I'm just giving free advice. You can do a lot of your own, research, and then kind of determine how you want to invest. But anyway, that's pretty much all I got for this right now. I hope everyone has a good night. We'll see you next time.